will take it away. Okay, hello, I'm Rose Markey, and this is the Microlearning Project, thought-provoking ideas and value-added skills for your professional and personal lives. This is the last episode within this project where I'm going to be sharing key concepts from Brene Brown's Dare to Lead program. And today, I'm going to talk about the idea of living big and the barriers that keep us from accepting our best selves and the best of others. So like normal, those of you, you know my standard work, I'm going to stop my video so that you can focus on the slides. And I want to start with this big question that I put in the prompt on yesterday's survey, which is, do you believe that people are doing the best that they can? So yesterday after we finished, I was sitting here at my house and my 20-year-old son happened to come in, and I was just staring off into space, and thoughtfully he asked, "Are you okay? What's wrong?" And I said, "I'm going to ask you a question. Do you believe people are doing the best they can?" And he right out of the gate said, "I don't think so." And then he thought and he said, "Well, that's what I think about people my age, but maybe not with older people." And so for me, it was another data point of validation that we tend to be, there tend to be almost two camps, or we vacillate between the two. And I know for me right now, I am really wondering, is this the case with everything that's going on? So I want to talk through some of that with you. I want you to think of a person you constantly find yourself judging. Someone whose choices, values, and/or behaviors you find annoying or unacceptable. And then I want you to think about what specifically drives your judgment and what it would mean for you, not them, not the person, but what it would mean for you if they are doing the very best they can. And what we're going to do is we're going to examine that magnifying glass is not necessarily pointing that at the person, but it's actually using it to look at ourselves. This can be a really hard question to answer, and we often hear a ton of debate about it. I've been in the camp that said, hell no, absolutely not. People are not doing the best they can. And then just about the time I started to circle my wagons of judgment, I'd talk to others who I knew were of the same mindset. Why? Because I was seeking validation. I know that like-minded people feed off each other, and it can be comforting to some extent, and anyone who comes into the thinking and tries to challenge that can find themselves into some dangerous territory. But at the same time, there are people who do believe that others are doing the best they can. I'll tell you this, I don't know for sure if people are doing the best that they can, but I do know that my life is better when I assume that they are. And I add a little something to that question. I ask myself, are people doing the best they can with the tools they have? And I'd like to illustrate this through a personal experience. My sister struggled with alcohol and drug addiction from her late teens until she took her life at the age of 57. That was just 2 years ago. In my early years, influenced by the thoughts and opinions of my parents and extended family and family friends, I wholeheartedly believed she was not doing the best she could. She was offered help time and time again, financially, mentally, spiritually. Every time she'd get a job, she'd lose it. Every time she'd have a little in savings, she'd throw it away on whatever she chose as her numbing or coping mechanism of choice. Each time she seemed to land on her feet, she'd fall again, and she blamed everybody, including yours truly. I watched silently most of the time, and when I was vocal, we would shut each other out of our lives. But what if I was to assume that she was doing the best she had with the tools she had? What would that look like? It's called living big. BIG is the acronym of 3 of the 7 elements of trust that Brene has found through her research, and they stand for boundaries, integrity, and generosity. So the question becomes this: what boundaries did I need to put in place with my sister, when I was really frustrated and questioning everything she was doing. The boundary was, and communicated with her, that she was welcome to call me at any time to check in, but when she called or texted to say that she was about to harm herself, I was going to call 911. How did I demonstrate integrity when dealing with her and her situation? Well, rather than dismissing the call, ignoring her text, or her insightful post on Facebook, I would engage with her. I would resist the notion to tap out. And what was the most generous interpretation I could give her when I questioned her intentions, words, and actions? Well, I recognized that she needed connection. She was reaching out for love, belonging, versus wanting money or pity. So, okay, that was a personal example. My point here is that when we think about living big, it's about the really hard things in life. And I share it because I notice that I have a harder time living big in my home life than I do in my professional life. But if you're looking for a professional example, perhaps this one will help. I've found myself constantly judging someone for what I would call not pulling their weight. I get frustrated with this person. This person shows up physically or virtually these days, but often I wonder why they don't show up mentally. And I start asking myself, why isn't this person leaning in? Why aren't they contributing to the conversation, sharing ideas? Why aren't they engaging in the work the rest of us are doing? At a time when people are being furloughed and there's so much uncertainty, how does this person even look at themselves in the mirror each day? Is this person even aware? Is this person even willing? Are other people seeing this? And these are the questions that I rumble with in my mind. So then I use this living big idea. What boundaries can I put in place? Well, it's okay to talk to people, and it's not okay to talk about people. It's time to have a conversation with this person and listen with curiosity, not judgment. How can I demonstrate integrity when dealing with this person? Well, rather than dismissing the behavior and continuing to be frustrated, I can be authentic and talk. And what's the most generous interpretation I could give this person? The person might not be comfortable with the technology we're using to do our work these days. This person wants to contribute, and they might be looking for a way to do that that doesn't involve technology or large groups. This person still has gifts that serve the organization and are value added. They're just different than mine. We both want the same thing, we just go about it differently. So here's the question for you. When you think about that person that you get frustrated with and that you're wondering, are they doing the best they can? The questions for you to ask yourself are, what boundaries do you need to put in place so that you can work from a place of integrity and extend the most generous interpretations of their intentions, words, and actions? That was a lot. I know there, 15 minutes, even less than that, is going by rather quickly. I want you to keep in mind, when we talk about living big, boundaries, integrity, and generosity, there are typically some barriers to that or that make it especially difficult. And they are perfectionism, fear of grief, sadness, fear, and self-judgment. This is a really hard concept to rumble with, isn't it? But I hope through what you've learned this week that you're willing to rumble with it and commit to learning and leaning into the vulnerability, to stay curious and generous, to stick with the messy, messy middle of problem identification and solving, to take a break and circle back when necessary, to be fearless in owning your part, and to listen with the same passion with which we want to be heard. Next week, you're going to learn about emotional intelligence. This week has been tough on so many levels when we've talked about Dare to Lead and all the things that are going with us in our personal and professional lives. I do want you to know that all 5 sessions have been recorded, and we're going to let you know when we can provide access to them once they're published, probably next week. As a preview for next week, you're going to be learning and discovering the importance of emotional intelligence and how it differentiates top performers. You're going to get a general overview on June 8th. On June 9th, you're going to talk about self-awareness, and then June 10th, 11th, and 12th, self-management, social awareness, and relationship management. And your host is going to be Ashley Felder. So last but not least, please take a moment to provide us feedback on your thoughts about the microlearning project. Anything goes, right? We just want to keep making it better. We're here to serve you. You can use the code that you see on the right hand of your screen or in the chat box. It's the same survey that we've been sending out all week. So if you miss it in the chat today, you can always pull up one of those emails I sent out before. And as always, I'll send out an email as I have every other day this week. Again, thank you for your time. Thank you for putting yourself first and taking the time to learn about these concepts. I'll stay on for a few moments if you need anything from me. Thank you. Be careful out there and stay safe, and have a great day.